I just got something today. I'm going to show it to you. I got my fidget. Hello, it's Glinda with aka GK Fralin, and tonight we're going to do a couple of those flash fictions from elements given me by Carla and Glinda Wilson so far. Carla Sherman and Glinda Wilson so far. I would really love it if a lot of the others of you would just participate even in the conversations below, because I know there's a lot of you who have concerns. Tonight we're going to start talking about type 2 diabetes. And there is a difference between type 1 and type 2. So I will probably not get into the difference a lot. I'm more going to get into the introduction of what type 2 is and how we initially, the initial information. And I did get this information from the American Diabetes Association, which, thanks to the internet, is more or less something that anybody, I suppose, can get into from wherever. Okay, we're going to start out with Carla's Periwinkle Blue Bingo. That's what I'm going to call it. Her elements were for the wildflowers. She chose periwinkle. For her song, she chose When Irish Eyes Are Smiling. Her dessert is tiramisu. The pet name is Bingo, and the day of the week is tomorrow. So here is our silly, goofy Carla Sherman inspired flash fiction. I fed Bingo, my periwinkle blue Irish setter, some tiramisu tomorrow. The thing with feeding a periwinkle blue colored Irish setter tiramisu tomorrow is they forget to answer when Irish eyes are smiling. So, if you have a periwinkle blue Irish setter named Bingo, feed him the tiramisu yesterday instead of tomorrow, so that he will answer to when Irish eyes are smiling tomorrow or today. Okay, the next one is from Glinda Wilson, and she had a pet name is Lulu, and she said that was a dog. She didn't say what kind, so I made up a kind. It doesn't matter because it's a pet name, and I can make it whatever I want. I could make it a otter named Lulu if I wanted to, but no, it's a dog. Saturday is her day of the week. Caramel cake is her favorite dessert. Dandelion is the flower, and Amazing Grace the song. And so this is what I came up with that. My little Lulu, a Chihuahua, loves to eat caramel cake. However, Lulu the Chihuahua is particular about eating it on Saturday. Well, how would I know that, you ask? My Lulu has a specific way of speaking to me. She uses homemade potato stamps that she chews until she gets the shape she wants. Some dogs are very talented, you know. Truth is, she just won't eat it any other day of the week. The other unique part of the caramel cake recipe, especially for Lulu, is to mix dandelion juice into the cake mix. She picks the dandelions and lays them at my feet on Saturday morning. So, by some amazing grace, I've learned the best way to gain obedience from a Chihuahua is through dandelion flavored caramel cake. Maybe it only works for Lulus on Saturdays. You can try a different day if you like. for your little pooch. And that was the best I did, guys. I hope you liked it because, oh, anyway, that was that. They're on a bearing. Isn't it fun? You would be surprised just how fun something like this is. Of course, it's brand new to me. Oh, there it is. There it is. I was watching the spinner instead of the... Woo! I'm not really as close as it looks. But I would never get it overly close to the screen, but I got it about 4 inches, 5 inches away. And I've got a tight grip. So. But a lot of people want to do tricks, and I'm just making it look like I'm doing tricks when I'm actually just spinning it around and twisting my hands. But I'm not even doing that real well right now. But that is a fidget spinner. The thing that gets me is, let me show you what they said to him. I'm not getting in this shot because I haven't had my bath and got changed yet. I just woke up a while ago. Well, it's been a little bit. What did I do with it? I threw it away. Okay, this thing is heavy. It's heavy and it's hard. I mean, that thing probably weighs, I don't know, 4 or 5 ounces, I don't know. But it's a very, very hard metal. This is not plastic, folks. And that's a bearing in the middle, okay? They sent it in that. That is the sum total of what they put on it. Now you imagine that thing in there, as heavy as it was, getting tossed around against other mail. And hopefully nothing got broken that might have, or dented. Like if you can imagine somebody getting a birthday card and this gets slammed up against it a few times and bends that birthday card, that just is not responsible in my book. Not for. A quick little side note on that spinner. It's not the brand name fidget spinner. It's a different brand. It's a different off brand or something. It was from China. So I don't want to give the impression that the people who make the actual fidget spinner brand name is that they are shipping it that way. I don't know how they ship it. Okay, now to talk about type 2 diabetes. It's also called insulin resistant. And the insulin is produced in the pancreas. And it controls the blood sugar. It breaks it down so that it can so it gets into the bloodstream and you use it for energy. In type 2 diabetes, the body becomes resistant to the insulin produced by the pancreas. And as the pancreas produces more insulin to counteract, the body becomes more resistant. So it becomes a cycle. So thus the blood sugar can spike and something needs to compensate for the high blood sugar before it starts damaging organs in the body. For the newly diagnosed type 2 diabetic, life changes fairly quickly and dramatically. This can cause a lot of stress, not only for the patient, but also for their family. For one thing, the stress and anxiety attached to just being diagnosed can cause the body to react. Okay, treatment isn't the same for any two people, but there are a lot of similarities. The doctor will recommend the diet to follow and probably refer to a dietitian or nutritionist who will work with you on your diabetic, or with the person with their diabetic specific needs. Okay, and it may be that a change in diet is the best or the only needed treatment. However, sometimes a medical remedy is also required which can generally, in type 2, I think these days is more often than not a medication, and otherwise it can be insulin, but that's generally pretty, it's generally by the time the pancreas is pretty much no longer producing insulin, or not sufficient anyway. Okay, regular testing of blood sugar is done by a small device called a glucometer, or a glucose meter, blood glucose meter. And they do this little stick on the finger, and then the meter reads out, takes the blood and reads the amount of sugar in the blood and gives you the number that represents. Okay, and if it says it's high, then you need to adjust the diet or whatever needs to be done. Now, if you end up with a low blood sugar, maybe you've taken your medication or whatever you needed for the day, and you've gone out on an extra exerting run and haven't had your breakfast, and you come back and you're shaking, you're nervous, you're sweating, you're clammy, and all of that, and you just can't quit shaking, get a hold of some sugar. Some already broken down pretty much sugar, like some candy or a spoonful of sugar. Yeah, and maybe mix that into some orange juice or something and get it into your system, so that then you can start your meal, and by the time your meal becomes, gets to breaking down, then that sugar will already be gone, because it's going to get used up fairly quickly. Okay. If you or your family member or friend, you can, if you are a family member or a friend, you can also keep an eye for signs of low blood sugar or high blood sugar, either one, but don't let it become an emergency situation. If you do see it, then by them maybe being shaky, and sometimes they can act kind of fuzzy or confused. I've seen that one personally, and that's what triggered me, because it was this person. Everybody reacts differently, and I knew this was this one guy's personal, or was one of his specific signs of low blood sugar, and he just wasn't tracking. So I said, your blood sugar is low, isn't it? I don't think so. I said, I think it is. I said, let's get some sugar in you. And so by the time then we got some sugar in him with some orange juice, and he started kind of coming back around. He said, I am so glad you caught me, because, he was just, he wasn't really with it by that time. That can happen. So that's where you can kind of be a resource for them. And then there are less obvious signs or clues, and those will generally be picked up by the glucometer. If you're in doubt and you have your glucometer, use it. Otherwise, keep some sugar packets or some candy with you. If you're not home or anywhere where you can get to something, and then get to where you can get some regular food or something that's going to be used up. Okay, generally with a type 2 diabetic, that's not going to happen unless you over-exercise or you do a lot more than what you generally do, and the body uses that sugar up too fast and you haven't eaten yet. It's different for everyone. So if you're ever in doubt whether it's low blood sugar or high blood sugar, then err on the side of low blood sugar, because that one is deadlier faster. And then go to the emergency room, or call your doctor or whatever. We will cover this more. I'm going to put the link down where I said in that drop-down box. So I'm going to say goodbye here as far as the diabetic conversation is concerned, and we'll discuss it another day.